I don't. Down goes Frazier. Promise, last Ashes of Creation for a little bit. So this is my bard character. It's really like a shaman to me because you got all kinds of buffs that you can have going on. And I finally found a spear, a decent weapon. And one of the things in MMO RPGs is grinding. And that part, YouTube. Sometimes you're going to be grinding levels. I'm trying to get to level 10. It's something I enjoy to do. One of the things that a couple videos back I talked about measuring things and those kind of quantifying of what you're doing. It gives you an idea like time to kill, XP per hour, and those kind of things. And what I'm doing worthwhile? Could I do it better? And sometimes like climbing the mountain, it doesn't matter, just having fun. So in this run, I come across these Minotaurs, which are a little bit harder to kill. They yield more XP. So I had a grinding spot where I was just doing 3 of them. And it was a little bit boring. So I've come to this place. And it's on a road. You might see people walk around or riding by in the background. And in some cases, people have helped with other characters. When I'm in a high population, we'll stop and maybe work together for a little bit. But in this phase, I'm just testing out my build and making sure I've made it the best I could. Now, one of the things, I'm just going to call it AOC. Sorry to the real AOC. My apologies to the game Ashes of Creation. That's not the real one. You know who I'm talking about, YouTube. Each of your weapons develops a weapon skill on how much you use it. And you lose it. So when I switched to spear, I had 0. And so now I only have 3. It's going to get better. I understand some of the mechanics. And here I'm choosing what to do to help the weapon as I use it more. I don't know what was happening with that. I ended up minimizing it. And so what you're doing, you might be grinding for gear, you might be grinding for experience, you might be grinding for weapon experience, or, you know, some type of questing thing. There's always kind of objectives that you're trying to do. Now for a quick aside. So my videos that are most popular are usually my Linux videos. And so I'm working on a video where, again, there's a problem with everyone with the distribution. What distro should I use? And then there's some videos where the people go right off the deep end. You don't care that this is not really an operating system, it's a kernel. Like, this is what turns people off to Linux, right? Well, actually, and why do people do that? In the military, there's nomenclature to shorten things like AOR, area of responsibility. And if you go to a job that you've never heard of AOR, then you're like, what's this? In my last job, they had a lot of acronyms. There's no need to shorten it, right? That's just lazy. And when you go to sell people things, if you speak in acronyms, it turns people off. You get very little benefit for doing that. But the other thing that people do in the technical world, they use it to keep you out of it. It's a means of keeping you from knowing what's going on. And so in some of these videos, a couple videos I saw is a video, a guy said, me using Linux after a year. Now, he told on himself because he still uses Windows on his laptop, still have problems. And there's no genuine reason why you should use Linux. There's no good reason. If you want to take control and you don't want them reporting, yeah, that's one of the reasons. But for the most part, we don't care. Because unless you're a nut job and you've installed like Lineage OS or one of those other OSs for your phone, you're using Android, you're using Apple, you're in some ecosystem. And yes, there's some of you warriors that are out there that use everything open source, and God bless you. These guys are kind of hard. I'm trying not to pull. I'm not at the point where I can pull the whole area and then kill them all. And then I don't know, that's dubious because you have a countdown of when you're going to get the things back, so the mobs back. So really, this is almost near optimal. I can keep doing. I get one of those big guys every once in a while, and I'm learning my character a little more. You can see there's one of those lieutenants over there, or sergeants over there, that's coming in. He's going to jump in on me. You'll see my health gets low, but I have a couple of things. As I do damage, 25% of the time, I'll get 50% of my damage back as health. So that's keeping me up. And then also I have a hot health over time. See what I did there, YouTube? A health over time. And I might do a dot, which is damage over time. So the one guy talks about that he's been using it for a year, and really, you know, he does his video editing on it, but he should show us doing the video editing. And you guys don't really want to see me. And so here's the thing. You're a video editor. So what can you do to make the videos better? Let's see you editing on Linux. Or he used whatever that one, Drago. Maybe it's not Drago, but it begins with a D or something like that. I don't know. I don't use it. I use lumafusion. And then the other person, I watched one of his videos about, you know, why people are switching to Linux, or only 3% of people switch to Linux. And then his other video was like why people choose Mint. And then I'm just done with him, because his first video, and if it wasn't the same guy, I'm sorry to that guy. But in the first video, the guy starts going into it's a kernel and gets into all this technical thing that just turns everyone off. That's why they're not putting Linux on. No one wants to learn all that crap. We're done with school. We just want to use our computer. Let me tell you my use experience. Since my external drive mounts automatically and it can be seen by Steam, I don't even think about my computer. I just play games and do content. If you ever wonder why Apple's popular, that's why, because the stuff just works and it works together. It doesn't work with anything else. So we understand that capitalism part. But in my ecosystem, what you're seeing now, when you're seeing my face, that's recorded on an iPhone 13 mini that I don't use anymore, but I use just for this because it has a microphone and a camera. Why do I need a separate setup, YouTube? I got no money for that yet. And I don't think I'd do it anyways. Number two, I use an iPad, so I've recorded the video on my computer playing the game. I sneaker net it over with a USB-C, A, both, thumb drive. And then I just do my process, and then when I'm done with this video on the phone, I'll airdrop it over there. I'll airdrop the thumbnail to my Mac Mini when I'm ending up finishing up putting my thing on my video on Creator Studio on YouTube. Here's the problem with the app sometimes. The experience on the iPad isn't the same experience on the desktop. And I'm too dumb to figure out what the differences are and see if I can use it. But here's what I want to do. I want to check all the gotchas on when you make a video. There's a bunch of things that you got to check. Like, you can set some of them as default. I have the comments off as default. I'm thinking about turning them back on maybe. I don't know. But one of the things that turn off showing people how many likes it has, because if there's likes on there, they're not going to like it anymore. I don't have that problem. Once I turned it off, no one liked my videos. So I might turn that back on. But there's some settings that I check every time. And putting some of it doesn't show up in the app. It shows up in the desktop view. So that's why I have both of them. I also play games on the Mac Mini, so that makes that part easier. So you see I'm kind of now into my orbit. You can see there's some people back there looking at me. Just own these 3 people. Get with my back. I told you this before. about AOC that your weapons do, all of them do AoE damage. So it's pretty good for grinding. It's a pretty good game for grinding. I'm in a nice place. It's so far I really like the game. I'm spending a lot of time with it. If my hours in the game were a recommendation, my mouth would say yes, but my mind's saying no, not yet, YouTube. So the next guy's video had all these barriers. Well, it's this, and then it's this, and then this, and this. And those aren't here's the main reasons. You're not getting any support with Windows 10. If all of your software runs on this other Linux software, it works. I don't care what flavor you got. I use Cachy, and it's easy. Because the problem you're going to have is on every single version. How do I mount an external drive forever without borking my system? I can tell it to you now because I've done it so many times. But in the beginning, I had to sudo. And the one guy's telling you have to sudo. Nope. I want to turn everything. If I was doing a teaching video, I'm going to smoke that guy right there. I'd do a teaching video, and I would just do everything with Dolphin, which is the KDE file manager, and make it work in Dolphin. Because that's how you do it in Windows, through the file manager. So why do I got to revert? The other thing about all these distributions. I'm so old. How old are you, Ronin? I'm so old. I remember when there was MS-DOS, IBM DOS, Compact DOS, HP had an operating system. Heath had an operating system. You had Apple. You know, you had all these different operating systems. CPM, the flavors of that. In Britain, you had Acorn or whatever's that up. Timex Sinclair. That little computer that they loved over there. Why do you guys love little computers like the Raspberry Pi and that the Sinclair C81 maybe, something like that? I always wanted one. They had like Osborne. That was one of those first portable you carried. It has CRT, 5-inch CRT. Just lusted after it. This is no factual baseness. It seems like Britain invents everything first. They don't know how to capitalize on it. But like radar, sonar. When I was growing up, I grew up in Detroit during the 70s when Japanese auto manufacturing was starting to eat our lunch. And we said they couldn't do anything except copy. As I've gotten older, I wonder if the British say that about Americans. You can't do anything except copy. Anyways, getting back to grinding. So I'm killing these lower level mobs. I'm trying not to. I don't know if it's a negative, but in this game, you get a death XP penalty. So if I die, right now it was like at 3,000 XP. Each one of those big guys is 600, so I have to kill 5 of those. These little ones are like 200, so that's 15 of those. So I don't want to die. So I'm trying not to get too big of a pull. What's a pull? A pull is when you pull one person. You pull one mob. Mob's like movable object from back in the days, and that's what they called these things, mobs. You might hear that sometime. So I'm pulling one to do it. I can do 3 little ones easy, and they're about 600 or 700 XP. And one of these big ones is between 600 and 700 XP. So time to kill is probably the same for both. I'm not sitting with a stopwatch. I'm loony, but I'm not insane, YouTube. I don't want to very happy. There's people riding by over there. So these guys talk about Linux. So I fired up my virtual machine. Again, I had a problem with Nabara and then Bazite. I hear people talking about Bazite. Anyways, loaded the virtual machine. There was like a problem. I did what it said. I did a thing and then everything's working like it's supposed to. I loaded Mint, Pop OS, and then I was going to do Bazite. Couldn't get it to load. Then I was going to do Nabara. Couldn't get it to load. So I just loaded plain old Fedora. And the purpose is I have those, they're going to just be on my system. So I'm going to be running those in Linux as well all the time. And I'll probably change the interface so you can see how to load GNOME on one. I think I loaded with KDE, but I'm going to load GNOME on it so you can see how to do all that stuff. And I'll have a video where I'm just showing you the different Linuxes, but essentially it's the same. DOS was DOS. The commands for doing a directory listing was dir. Doing a directory listing in Linux is ls. And then you can, they call it a pipe. You can put a little minus key and then you can have it do different things. You did a little sometimes in DOS, but you do in Linux a lot. So it's not completely new. It's not completely old. And then you see I'm starting over here, and then this big guy, I'm going to fight him because he just spawned right near me. You see my health's kind of low, but I can handle this little bit. And what you're seeing sometimes is I'm putting them to sleep. What's the difference in an MMO RPG? When you put someone to sleep, a mob to sleep, if they get hit, they'll wake up. So sometimes when you're in a group, you'll put, you know, it's an emergency, you'll put everyone to sleep. Then some person will hit them and get them back open. If you use an AoE, the splash damage wakes them back up. And then I have a stun that's what he is right now. He's locked down for 10 seconds. I can do damage. Once the damage reaches 10% of his health, then he'll wake up from again. So I have 2 emergency skills like that. That's the other thing in a build. How do I get my health back? Do I have to, if I have to cast a heal, then I'm wasting time. So that's why I like health over time HOTS. And then the other thing is, I'd like to life steal. And so what's life stealing? When I do damage, I get health back. So I have this life steal on here as well. That's kind of one of my, that's like, those are core things in every game. I'm looking for like those skills. Or a slow, like chilling. So YouTube, we talked about 2 different things today. We talked about grinding spots, and we talked about Linux. So I'm set up to do a video on Linux. I'll show you how to make virtual machines. I'll show you how to do all that stuff. You know I abhor it, but I love you, YouTube. I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy holidays! Ronin Kaze out.